Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another in our series of SkySwitch webinars. I'm Andy Abramson, and I am delighted to say that we have another webinar today. And this time it's on a really interesting subject, all about IVR and AI. And with us today, we have Computer Instruments team to talk all about their new virtual concierge, which is an AI powered conversational IVR attendant. You need to know about this because in today's virtually dominated world, we're constantly looking for ways to innovate and make our daily, day to day tasks much easier. We're lucky to have our technology supplier, Computer Instruments, on hand to tell us how they found a way to help companies that are looking to simplify the contact center interaction and enrich the customer self service experience. Here to tell you all about that. We asked Computer Instruments CEO Chris Herring and Senior Design Engineer Reed Meyermaster, along with Detta Donahue, to join us today so we can discuss their new virtual concierge AI attendant. With an intelligent voice experience that's backed up by AI and an integration layer to additional AI and advanced speech APIs like those from Google, every caller who calls you or calls your customers will be delighted with the real time exchange because you just delivered them a very forward thinking solution backed by real intelligence. We often say it's not about just having smart people, it's about having smart tools in your call stack, and this is certainly one of them. During the webinar, we're going to cover just what Computer Instruments is all about, take an in-depth look at their portfolio of services that you can use, but also that you can resell. We'll get a complete introduction to the virtual concierge, and we'll actually see it in action through their promotional video and attendant demo. And we're going to unveil today something very special, which is the Partner Resource Portal. This is what makes it easy for you as a reseller to be able to market and deploy the virtual concierge. We're going to get an overview of how the registration process takes place, and you'll learn how everyone wins and how much you can make based on your sales success. Remember, if you have questions, please put them in the Q&A, and at the end, we'll have some cool prizes that people who have participated in today's webinar will receive. Again, you know who I am. I've been doing these webinars now for almost a year and a half and having a lot of fun doing it. Our speakers today include Chris Herring, the CEO of Computer Instruments, Reed Meyermaster, the Senior Design Engineer, and Detta Donahue, who does such a great job leading their marketing communications. So with that, I want to toss it over to Chris and let him give you some more insight about Computer Instruments.
Thank you, Andy, and thank you, everybody. I appreciate your time, and I know the seminar is going to be, I hope it's going to be valuable to you. We've been doing this, or I should say in the business, since 1979. And so over 40 years, we've had the experience of writing software, and that's what CI is. We are a software developer. Our focus has been on self-service interactive voice response systems. And through this time of the last 40 years, we have garnered the Bell Labs certified software developer status for self-service applications. And with that privilege, we have had the opportunity to work with thousands of customers. And through this, we've learned, we've had a great deal of experience with different businesses and how they operate, as well as we've been able to watch trends that have been occurring in the telephony business for sure over the last 40 years. What we're going to talk about today is a new trend, a new evolution of communication with telephony. I'm sure most of you already are aware of this technology. I'm sure you already, and you probably have, you understand it, and I believe your customers have already understood it and also have accepted it, and that is conversation. Conversation is the next really powerful evolution and certainly revenue evolution for the telephony business. We're talking about the ability to have a conversation with a device. And I'm sure most of you, you talk to your phone through Bixby and such, or you've worked with Google Home or Echo or Alexis. All this technology is conversational. And I'm sure just like it has been in my home, and my grandchildren come in the house, the first thing I want to do is go ask Google to play all sorts of songs and dance and so forth. That kind of conversation has really evolved, really our society and the way that we look at how we want communication and how we want experiences. Well, interesting enough, where this has all been lacking though is in the business environment. And this is where our software development, our experience, the products that we have evolved with over the years have developed and come to put together for the market, Virtual Concierge. Now, Virtual Concierge is a conversational AI platform. And we're going to show you here in just a few minutes what it's all about. But I do want to start with the fact that, and this may sound corny, but my dream over the last 30 some years has been to produce a conversation, a platform that people naturally speak what they want. We all have had experiences with press or say, and that's worked very well for the industry. But the next evolution is going to be conversation, and conversation is going to be part of the largest revenue generator that telephony resellers will experience. And I say this because I've seen the trend back in the 80s, the fax machine, although I know you could laugh about that, but the fax machine and its evolution in the market, and particularly for telephony resellers revenue, was huge. It lasted for 15, almost 20 years, that revenue stream from just selling fax and fax services has evolved. And in fact, even today, fax services is still part, particularly with any government facility you work with, still requires that type of a service. Well, I believe that conversation is going to be as large, if not larger. It's going to sustain revenue for you and people in the business for a minimum of 10 years, and probably as long as 15, maybe 20 years. And that's why I think it's important that today, when we talk to you and share this with you, what Virtual Concierge can do, keep in mind that this is the next level of revenue, and we'll be delighted to talk to you about how we perceive it and how we can work with you. Now, anything that you see or hear today, I want you to know that CI stands behind it. We provide pre-sale support as well as post-sale support for anything that has to do with conversation, AI, and the deployment and support of it. So I'm going to pass this over to Reed now, and to give you some examples of some of the proof of concepts that our customers have asked us to build with this technology. Now, we've had a lot of interesting applications tossed to us, and we picked a few of them that we thought you guys might really understand or appreciate. And what we want to do is show you that the Virtual Concierge, even the minimum platform of it, can be configured to do so much more. Now, we have started with an auto attendant, and the reason why is because most businesses, when the phone rings, if it's not being directly answered by a direct DID, it's coming through a switchboard or it's coming through an attendant. And so the Virtual Concierge is being configured and built to meet the demands of a receptionist, and intelligently be able to work with whatever has been spoken by the caller, providing them an easy way to access any business and the business processes within. So Reed, I'm going to toss this over to you, and if you'll provide some of the proof of concept demos, that'd be great.
All right, thanks a lot, Chris. And good morning, everyone. I think what we want to do is talk just a little bit about our portfolio, what applications we've developed over the years, and how you can take advantage of these applications or solutions. At a very high level, you might say our portfolio could be summed up like this. If you've heard it or spoken to it, we've most likely developed it. That breaks down into our IVR platform, and it's over 30 predefined applications, custom CTI development, screen pop applications, and even IP phone paging applications. Looked at it from a different perspective, our portfolio covers inbound self-service, outbound notification and delivery, and dialing solutions. Just about everything you can think of falls into one of these three categories. And the concept here is that we can bring any of these solutions into the fold with the virtual concierge. Over the years, we've fielded some crazy and extraordinary customer requests. We've been asked to gather agent performance data by one of the leading cruise lines in the world by performing post-call agent surveys. We've assisted a global company in helping to manage their employee status through this pandemic. And we were even asked to develop an application to help count chickens before they hatch. So no request is outside of our field of vision. Our portfolio also addresses specific industry requirements like patient privacy, secure payment processing, and notifications of all types.
How does all that work?
Well, good question. Let's talk about that technology. The technology we use to develop and deploy these solutions begins with our own team of CTI development experts, along with best-in-breed specialists, including Google Voice and Google AI. We utilize Google's advanced speech and data processing APIs for all types of things like text-to-speech, speech-to-text, voice transcription, language translation, and even extended functions like geolocation and more. Advanced speech applications that were once too complex or costly to deploy and maintain have now become more powerful, affordable, and easier to deploy than ever. And one such example of this, and the way that this is integrated with our solution, is the virtual concierge. I'm going to hand this over to Chris and let him talk just a little bit about that. Chris?
I'm sorry, as usual, I was muted. Our technology, Virtual Concierge, is a software application. It resides on an IVR platform called the E1 Multi-Tenant Services, and it is integrated, as Reed mentioned, to Google AI and Google Voice, as well as a built-in AI platform also that works through AWS. So it is an application that is point and click. It's an application that is easy to deploy and update, and it's an application that I'm sure your customers are going to find easy to use and very advanced to what they've experienced. Reed, you want to take them through some of these demos?
Reed, I think it would be really good if you can explain the different aspects of what the virtual concierge really does, and take them through it from this is what happens when the caller first dials in and hears the virtual concierge. Reed?
Oh, here I am doing it now. Now I'm the one talking on mute. I apologize. Absolutely. What we're going to do is take you through a couple of examples. I think these will probably be the best way to demonstrate what it is the virtual concierge is actually doing. This turns the caller experience around into a, how can we help you and let you tell us what it is you need? And I'm just going to start here with a simple example of an auto attendant. This particular auto attendant example includes help, and it's going to be dealing with a multi-match scenario when I ask for somebody. So one second here. Just listen to this.
Thank you for calling Computer Instruments. How can we be of assistance today? If you're unsure, just ask. What can I say?
Okay, tell me what I can say.
Thank you. Thanks for asking. I'm the E1 Virtual Concierge. I'm able to understand conversational requests and provide guidance to callers along the way. You can ask me to transfer you to a department or a person. You could ask me for help or technical support. I can help you find an address, schedule a reservation, or check the status of a previously booked trip. The possibilities are endless and limited only by your imagination. So, let's give it a try. How can we be of assistance today?
I'd like to speak to Mr. Herring.
Thank you. There were multiple matches found. Do you want Cale Herring, Chris Herring, or Tonette Herring?
Chris Herring, please.
Thank you. Please hold while I transfer you to Chris Herring.
Now, clearly, that's a pretty simple example, but it does illustrate the idea that we're allowing the caller to tell us what it is they need. And a couple of other samples were mentioned. We mentioned the idea of finding an address. This has been in previous solutions like IVR solutions, been a difficult process of collecting someone's address of their location. We've simplified that by utilizing all of the geolocation features of Google's API set. We've also been working, as I mentioned, with groups that did virus reporting, basically doing screening for COVID. And I think I mentioned in that call that we were also capable of doing reservations. Actually, Chris, which of these would you, let's take a look at reservations. This kind of illustrates how far this process and this technology could be taken. This reservation is about scheduling a ride. And we put this together for customers doing paratransit. And one of the challenges, obviously, had been address locations. They also wanted to be able to get feedback to their callers. So we put together this process. And I'm just going to run through this one real quick right now. Let me know if you're hearing this.
Thank you for calling the Transportation Reservation System. Please enter or speak your rider ID.
154326.
Thank you. Hello, Reed Meyermaster. How can I help you?
I'd like to schedule a ride from home to Dixie Dialysis Center in St. George, Utah on Thursday at noon.
One moment while I process your request. Okay. You want to schedule a ride from home at 448 East Telegraph Street number 105, Washington, Utah, to Dixie Dialysis Center at 720 River Road, D1100, St. George, Utah on Thursday at 12 p.m. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Fantastic. Your trip has been scheduled. Would you like an SMS confirmation of this reservation?
Yes, please.
Can we send the SMS message to the phone number you are calling from?
Yes.
Thank you. The SMS message has been sent. Would you like to schedule a return trip?
Yes, I would.
Okay. What time would you like to be picked up for your return trip?
4 p.m.
All right. We will pick you back up at 4 p.m. Would you like an SMS confirmation of your return trip reservation?
No, thank you.
Would you like to make another reservation?
No.
Thank you for calling the Transportation Reservation System. Goodbye.
That's a very good demonstration of just how easy your IVR system with AI behind it can work. Great job, guys.
Thank you. And, you know, a lot's happening there. And you notice it asked me if I, to provide my ID, and then it knew where my home was. So this process and this interface allows us to integrate not only with Google's APIs, other web service APIs, also interact with back office systems and data repositories. Very simple integrations. I tell you what, do we want to listen to another demonstration here, or shall we proceed?
Why don't we have another one? Because I think you're showing great flexibility that your IVR backed by AI solution can offer.
Perfect. Well, and you notice that the reservation did an address lookup. I spoke the name of a location, a business name in the city and state. It found the address of that location. It also does a validation that that address is a valid mailing address, just in case we're doing some sort of application like requesting that something be mailed to us. This one, which is problem reporting, we put together for a customer that was looking to have a way for people to call in either during office hours or after hours, reach somebody and be able to get resolution to a problem they've experienced.
Hello, and thank you for calling the Problem Resolution Center. Your call is very important to us. Please tell me how I can help you today.
I think I smell gas outside my back door.
One moment, please. I believe you said, I think I smell gas outside my back door. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
I see that you're calling from 913-307-8853. Is that correct?
Yes.
What is the location or address of this problem?
16015 Richmond Avenue, Belton, Missouri.
Thank you. The location you're reporting is 16015 Richmond Avenue, Belton, Missouri, 64012. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Your problem report has been submitted to our resolution center. Your confirmation number is 915786. Do you want to hear that again?
No, thank you.
Thank you. A repair crew will be dispatched. Please be sure to take precautions. Do not flip any electrical switches. Do not light a gas stove or fireplace. Do not light a match, and if possible, leave the premises and wait for the repair crew outside of your home. Would you like a text message confirmation of your report?
Certainly.
Can we send the SMS confirmation to the telephone number you're calling from?
Yes, please.
Thank you. The SMS message has been sent. Is there anything else I can do for you today?
No, thank you.
Thank you for calling the Problem Resolution Center. Goodbye.
All right, well, the Problem Resolution Center obviously is doing something unique. And it's something that the virtual concierge is designed and created to take on, which is identifying the intent of the caller. And this is the key, is if we can identify the intent, then we can identify the object of that intent. In this case, someone simply said they smelled gas. The response they got, the instructions they got from the virtual concierge were particular to their intent, meaning they had a problem, and also the object of that intent, which is that they smelled gas. Regardless of what type of utility call or what type of problem the caller had reported, that would be the purpose and the function that this virtual concierge would perform. It would attempt to understand the intent of the caller and then what the object of that intent is. Obviously, we've got others here, and virus reporting has become a tremendously large segment of what we've been doing over the last years. I'm sure all of you have had to deal with this as well, for various reasons, whether we're confirming appointments with people who are going to be having a doctor's appointment and need to confirm that they haven't traveled or they haven't been around somebody who's been exposed, or whether it's people calling in because they're reporting for their shift at an organization. We need to do that type of screening with them as well. So once again, I'll just play one more of these. We'll just give you this example.
Hello, you have reached the COVID-19 reporting line. Please state your employee ID.
154326.
Answer the following questions with yes or no. If you're unsure, please say yes. Have you traveled within the past 14 days?
Yes.
Are you under any required or suggested quarantine at this time?
No.
Please speak your full name.
Reed Meyermaster.
Please speak the best telephone number where you can be reached.
913-307-2296.
Based upon your responses, please do not come to work. Someone in the HR department will reach out to you soon. Would you like an SMS message confirming this information?
Yes, please.
Can we send the SMS confirmation to the telephone number you're calling from?
Yes, that would be fine.
Thank you for completing this survey. Your cooperation in maintaining the safety and security of all employees is appreciated. Goodbye.
You know, one of the things that come up, guys, and data in our questions and answers from Robert Harney is, and it's something which has been on my mind since we first heard the demo from you, which is, do you have a non-robotic voice option? Because a lot of people are starting to want more natural language responses from AI-based IVR solutions. Is there such a thing in the works, or is it something you have available, or is it just a non-starter?
Well, let me address that briefly. First of all, we're utilizing all of the text-to-speech resources from Google for dynamically generating prompts. Now the interface for the virtual concierge allows an organization to utilize that text-to-speech and that synthesized voice, and it also provides a way to upload to the system voice prompts for not only all of the context, but also anything that the virtual concierge speaks while interacting with callers. So it does provide for human voice recordings. It provides for both that and text-to-speech, and it can also do a combination when speaking back data elements or information to callers if needed.
But you don't have a non-robotic voice. You just have the voice prompts that Google can give you, is what you're saying.
Well, we're utilizing text-to-speech, and it is greatly, vastly improved. We think Google's text-to-speech is better than most. But it is getting less robotic, but it is still a robot, effectively. It's a computer-generated voice. So knowing this, we've, as I said, built in the capability to utilize human voice recordings or speech, or to choose from other language or voice prompts, voice energy from Google. So meaning they have about, I think, 26 different voices available in different dialects as well.
Okay. Well, let's keep going with what you're talking about. That was a good question from Robert.
Well, what I'd like to do is hand it over to Detta Donahue to kind of walk you through what caller expectations have become. Detta?
Thanks, Ray. Hi, everybody. I appreciate the opportunity to be here, for sure. And I wanted to share with you in a way of explaining what meeting caller expectations or adoption really means, is to relate a personal incident that I went through very early in my career. And perhaps some of you may even have had a similar experience. But back in the day, I was a telecom manager and was responsible for 15 individual sites at one point. Voicemail was a new technology at the time, and I was convinced it was, going to be the be all and end all to help productivity, help increase business. And I made a pretty darn good argument with my upper management, and they all agreed with me. And, a few weeks, months later, we rolled it out, and, it met expectations in that it answered a call when the person wasn't there to answer their phone. However, the adoption rate was very poor because the idea of voicemail was something that was very foreign to those callers that were trying to reach a particular person. Today, in this day and age, rolling out natural conversation or conversational self-service does not have that challenge. And for one very important reason, people have been used to speaking to things even before Siri was around. Okay, if you go back and think of the days when people used to call 411 and Ma Bell would come back and say, city and state, please. People naturally responded to that city and state question very simply by saying, Boston, Massachusetts. It wasn't given a second thought. So the adoption rate for this technology right now is at an industry high. Any and all of your customers are going to naturally assume that people will start using and interacting with the virtual concierge attendant the minute they hear it. Some people don't even realize that they are talking to a bot. And recently, there was a medical study that was released that the findings were pretty astounding. They found that people were more honest when speaking with an artificial intelligence because they knew there wasn't anybody on the other end of the line that was judging them. So they were more honest and more forthright with the symptoms that they were responding to. And I share all of this because I want to make sure you have the confidence that in using this or positioning it with your customers, the expectation will be met. That's a given. But the adoption rate of the technology when it's deployed for your customers will be met and exceeded as well. So I hope that my experience and sharing this with you kind of encourages you, because we're going to share with you in a few moments something very special, and as a promotional offer that all of you will be able to make yourself available to. And I think it's time for me to pass it back to Reed. Thanks, everyone.
Reed, you want to pick up where Detta
Yeah.
left?
Perfect. Thank you, Detta. Appreciate it. And let's get to the exciting part of this. This is about the promotion. This is about the virtual concierge. So Computer Instruments is offering a promotion to all of our SkySwitch partners, which includes CI's Cloud Virtual Concierge Conversational AI IVR service configured as an auto attendant. So this offer provides 4 SIP IVR ports along with 4 virtual concierge licenses for 4 months at no charge, and it may be extended for a nominal fee. So there's no investment initially to get started with this. It's free to you, and everybody wins. The concept is to plant the seed, get this application in the hands of users, allow them to understand how they can use it, and then see if they want to expand it into other functions within their organization. Having the application do advanced features like scheduling rides or doing address lookups, all of these applications can be added to the system with professional services, and that's your path as well as ours to revenue. Just to restate what the offer is, this virtual concierge AI attendant offer includes 4 ports of the virtual concierge attendant, and that can be expanded if need be. It includes 4 SIP trunks, so we can service up to 4 callers concurrently through the auto attendant. And this is for 4 months with the option to either add more ports or extend to an additional 4 months. It includes all of the Google Voice and AI integration. There's no surcharge for that. We can provide caller directory, company directory for an unlimited number of names and departments. We have multilingual support. You'll see that within the application interface. Enterprise level self-service to any organization. This is scalable. So at any point in time, if this really catches on with any of your customers, you can increase the capacity of the system and it can scale to any size. The key here is it allows your callers, allows your customers' callers to use their natural speech cadence. They can simply talk to the system. Furthermore, that eliminates touch tone errors. We find we get a lot better recognition and accuracy coming through voice than we would even through somebody touch toning their phone, simply because they might fat finger things. So once again, the concept is that we plant the seed with people and we let it grow. And what it grows to is really up to you and up to them. I'll stop there, see if I had a question about that. I see a couple here. Andy, I have a question with, could this be integrated with billing systems to pay invoices? Absolutely. That gets to another question, which is this HIPAA compliant? I mentioned earlier that the E1 application, the virtual concierge, can integrate with outbound applications. It can integrate with billing systems. It can integrate with scheduling systems. And it can certainly do outbound calling for reminders or appointments. I mentioned earlier that it also is secure in that all the communication being transferred back and forth between the virtual concierge is only in a secured environment. It's all encrypted, and all of the data relative to any kind of patient data remains with your customer, not within the virtual concierge.
We have a lot of questions, guys.
Yeah, they're coming up.
I think we should just dive into them right now, given how we're already more than halfway through. One of the questions that came up was from Rob Cofield. He wants to know if you're able to send a text message to the caller for an address. For example, if someone were to call an automated attendant of a specific store and the caller asked for the address, could the address be texted back to the caller? So basically, do you have text to speech and then text to text integration?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, the application we listened to earlier for the ride application, when it says it's going to send you an SMS confirmation, not only does it send them SMS confirmation, but it's also sending, in that case, a Google Maps link to the specific location that was requested. So somebody can simply click on the link on their cell phone and immediately be taken to a map of where that location is. I should also mention that because we can utilize all of the Google APIs, we can take that address, determine through the places, is it a business? And if so, what is the telephone number? And potentially even offer the caller the option to transfer to that location. So absolutely, that's an application we developed and that we frequently deploy.
A question from David Boyd. How does this work with or accommodate very thick foreign accents or even accents from around the United States? You know, some people may have a deep Southern drawl if they are in the deep South. Does the AI learn things like that?
That's an excellent question. And yes, it does. And this is one of the advantages of partnering with an organization like Google. If it were simply our understanding or our speech that we were trying to work with, it would be a complex environment, as you say, because we're dealing with dialects, we're dealing with various forms of speech, perhaps even different languages. Because we're utilizing Google, we're utilizing all of the testing and all of the resources that they brought to bear, including their AI. And a great way to understand just how powerful that is, and I'm sure some of you have tried this at some point, is to just jump over to Google and ask it to just start talking or start typing and see how quickly Google's able to come back, analyze what the pattern is, analyze what the intent is, and get you to the proper location.
Let's see. Mark Kollick wanted to know, does the AI allow for pop-up screens for reps when the call gets transferred to the rep in live format?
Actually, we can provide screen pop-ups on call transfer with another of our applications, which is called ScreenPop Premium. This particular application could be added on to the virtual concierge and carry intelligence from the caller experience, the virtual agent experience, over to a physical agent. We do a lot of screen pops, both of our own content with our own presentation layer or in a target CRM or application.
And Robert Harney has a series of questions, so I'm just going to go through them one by one, because I think a lot of this really talks about the imagination and the thoughtfulness that our resellers have around what you're offering. The first part of his question is really simple. Can you integrate this with a billing system in order to pay invoices?
Absolutely.
Okay. And can outbound calls for the appointment reminders or to schedule things like doctor visits or dentist visits or hair appointments, are you able to work in an outbound fashion as well as when the calls come inbound?
Absolutely. Okay. We do all types of outbound notifications for all purposes. And because we're fully integrated, those outbound notifications can offer an option for a caller to speak to somebody and be transferred inbound or turn them into an inbound process.
Well, that leads into another one of Robert's many, many questions. I think obviously, Robert, you should schedule a call with Chris and his team because we've got some great questions and obviously they can give you great answers. He wanted to know if you can integrate voice as well as interactive texting so it's all synergistic.
Absolutely. In fact, we've done an application here within the last year for a password reset application. And you can see the challenge there over a touch tone phone. If somebody calls in to do a password reset, the password they may want to choose would be difficult, if not impossible, to key in on a touch tone keypad. And it may even be difficult for the virtual concierge to understand some of the extended characters that might be a part of a password. So in that application, it can push a SMS message out to the caller or allow them to reply by text, extract that information and use it as intelligence to continue the call.
One of the other last questions that Robert had, and this one ties back to the gas detector example that you provided. He said, can the problem resolution center make an outbound call to the caller, which you've already said can be done? Can it also call the owner's cell phone to notify them that this alert's been taken? So this would be a great example for alarm companies or monitoring companies or even delivery companies that, like right now, we all probably are doing Uber Eats or DoorDash to get food delivered as opposed to going out to a restaurant or a supermarket. Right now they send text, but could it be a call that says, hi, your food's been delivered, just want to let you know, eliminating the need for the driver to make that call?
Absolutely. And you know what I think you're alluding to is escalation. And in fact, one of the applications that we built and we use internally is our support escalation. So as calls come in and people report that they're having an issue, the support escalation is able to look up the type of issue, understand who needs to be contacted, and automatically start outbound notification both by phone, email, and text to escalate that issue. Now, could that escalation also be turned around to the person reporting the issue? Absolutely. So the ability for us to take a call, understand what the need is, and then determine what the appropriate process is built into the application interface as well as the AI in the system.
All of this comes down to integration. Daryl Panzer wants to know if you've integrated this into NetSapiens, or are we using DIDs to route the calls back and forth to the CI interface?
Primarily, we're using DIDs. We're a member of the ACD of the PBX we're connected to. Effectively, we're utilizing all of its call routing. Chris, do you want to speak to NetSapiens?
Sure, and we do. With the integration that we have with SkySwitch, it's already been established and have been working really almost over a year. So yes, we're very integrated with NetSapiens, and as well as if you have other opportunities coming through, we can also work really with any telephony configuration that's sold in North America. But primarily we're a SIP-centric platform, and so we integrate with most everything.
Mark Kollick wants to know if this is already set up for doctors and dental offices, and most importantly, is it HIPAA compliant?
Well, this application, as I said earlier, is effectively able to integrate with any of the over 30 off-the-shelf applications that we develop, and an appointment reminder is one of those. The application has the ability to perform those out calls. It has the ability to log the results of those calls, as well as provide features for somebody to be able to opt out or to reschedule, even to turn that call into an inbound call. I know there was a second part to that question. I apologize.
The question was, is it HIPAA compliant?
Yeah, and HIPAA compliancy is about patient data. And as I mentioned earlier, and I kind of tried to jump into this question, that the E1 system and the virtual concierge retains no data. All of the data relative to any interaction that it does with the caller remains with the customer. It's only accessing that information for reporting purposes, and then only if configured to do so. So it does not retain any patient data information unless it's been specifically requested. And I say that because we've been asked, for example, when doing payment processing, to generate reporting that might show the last 4 digits of a credit card, but never collect, retain, or report on all of that information.
Two people have asked the same question, both Stephen Barnett and Mark Kollick. They want to know how you charge for these services and what the pricing options are.
Sure, I can answer that, Reed.
Yep.
The way that we have set this up in cooperation with SkySwitch is based on simultaneous calls. We're already established with NetSapiens with a robust SIP trunks coming to us. And so what we're doing here is we're going to charge per simultaneous connection. So here's what it is. The first simultaneous call for a month is $150 billed to the business partner. Each remaining simultaneous call that you want is $100 a month. One of the reasons why we've established a four port configuration is to help monitor you over the next four months how much traffic your customer is going to use, and then be able to establish what you should be billing or what you could bill for the services. Now, understand the 150 for the first call, first simultaneous call, and the second, and so forth, are your costs. We suggest, obviously, you mark it up. And the question I get asked a lot is, well, what should I be marking it up? I think easily you should mark it up at least $50 a simultaneous call, if not more. Now, also, too, where revenue will come from is some of these applications that we've been talking about appointment reminders, notifications, things like that. All that will require additional professional service and the revenue for that. Now, Computer Instruments will provide you all of the pre-support, the pre-sale support, as well as all the post-sale support that you need to be successful with your customer. So in the pre-sales, we'll be delighted to work with you, build SOWs, build demonstrations with you and deliver to the customer, build a quote for you so you can see what your costs would be that you can update and forward on to the customer. We're as simple as that. At post-service, obviously, our Total Care Maintenance group will take care of the calls, take care of any tweaking and so forth that goes forward. Again, there's revenue there for professional services, for ongoing tweaking of the voice and the application. All this is provided and can be, again, a great revenue source for you. And this is when I say that this is revenue that's going to happen over the next 10, 15 years, is exactly this. The conversations will change, conversations will evolve, and so can the professional services that you provide to your customer and your customer's customer are a part of that.
Rob,
so I hope I answered the question.
That was a good question, with a good answer to the very good question. Rob Cofield wants to know what happens if there aren't any ports or trunks open for a simultaneous call. And I think that question relates to what you were just talking about. So why don't you explain how you handle that? Sure.
Well, first off, you as a business partner are going to decide how many open ports are going to be available for your clients to come to the virtual concierge. So that's one. So depending on how you configure your tenant to utilize and the amount of utilization they're going to do is really driven initially from the SkySwitch portion. Now, on the other hand, if we're talking about here 4 ports, we're able to, we'll commit to you this, that if you have a customer that has 4 ports and they exceed 4 ports, we will make sure that they can exceed it ×2. So in other words, if they schedule themselves for 4 ports, then we'll allow them to burst to 4 more to a total 8. And then we'll work with you as the business partner of how that billing is going to occur moving forward. Obviously, the way that we've worked today is that if we have a customer that's burst to 8, for instance, and they've already only been scheduled for 4, there is a premium for each of those simultaneous calls for the entire month. And then the next month it falls off and you go back to your 4 ports. So bursting is as it needs, and that's part of what we're going to be offering, which we offer to all our customers.
Robert Harney had one more question. He wants to know if for a fee to you guys, will you do the integration with billing, scheduling, outbound calling to make it all work?
Yes.
Okay. Arthur Kaplanian says, is there a self-service portal where we can configure and manage tenants, or will everything be configured by CI? I think you have something you can show that will make that very clear.
Yeah, I think
absolutely.
Absolutely. We can go on from here once you get to that. Sure.
Why don't you show it?
Well, taking advantage of this virtual concierge promotion is easy, and we have put together a resource page to help you and your customers get started right away. This page includes links to additional information about the virtual concierge, how it can be used, and the potential ROI. And to take advantage of the offer, there's also a bold link in the middle of the page that'll let you and your customers get started creating a new tenant account immediately. So right here in the middle of this landing page, there's a place where you can click on and easily get signed up for a tenant account. There's also a training video included there that will walk you through each of those steps. Also included on this page, you'll see is the user's guide, as well as a getting started quick start guide. The quick start guide is really just kind of that 1, 2, 3, 4 type step approach. Go here, click this link, and then fill out the form, submit the form, and then you'll be approved through the process, and you'll ultimately be able to log back into the application portal and manage virtually anything that the virtual concierge can do. So you can manage the contacts in your company directory, you can manage the prompting that the virtual concierge uses, and you can generate reports of how the virtual concierge is interacting with callers and the quantity of calls that the system's processing. So all of these materials will be available to you and available to your customers if they wish to sign up.
This really makes it easy. You've made it pretty much a self-service, sign up, get going, get working, and then your whole CI team is there to back people up.
Absolutely.
And then last question comes from Nicholas Cosmo. Do you have white papers of existing deployment examples to assist us in marketing? Very good question, Nicholas.
That's a fantastic question. And one of the things that we do have are several success stories of customers that we worked with over the years that cover the gamut of different types of applications that were requested, how we addressed the request and the challenge, and then what solution was provided and any potential ROI that was generated from that. All of these success stories are available directly from our Computer Instruments website, which is instruments.com, or we can provide those to you on request based on an industry or a vertical.
Great. Well, that wraps up all the questions. We have some prizes for people who are going to get drawn by our prize picker, Erica Vasquez. Why don't you talk about what the prizes are today?
Well, I believe one of the keys to this presentation and our goal is to deliver this prize, which is effectively the virtual concierge, free of use for 4 months to anyone who's on this call. So anybody who's on this call who wants to learn more about the virtual concierge, utilize the virtual concierge, or just become more familiar with it so you know how to present it to your customers, we'd encourage you to go to the site, click on the link, go ahead and sign up for an account. You at that point have already won, and we're hoping that your customers will win from that experience as well.
What a great offer. I mean, literally everybody is a winner today who was taking part in the webinar. We had, looking at the stats, we had roughly 35 to 40 people in and out. I think we had a high of about 45 people at one point participating in the webinar, obviously including all of us. So all of the resellers who popped in, joined in, if you go sign up, you will get a free account with 4 virtual licenses, everything you need to get started to learn the system and really be able to take advantage of it for 4 months. So you get 4 months free for 4 SIP connections and 4 virtual concierge licenses. This is only available for those who attended live today. So if you're listening to the replay, you should have tuned into the live event, and you would have gotten your 4-month, 4 SIP connections and 4 virtual concierge licenses, all for free. Capital F-R-E-E exclamation point. There's nothing better than if it's free, it's me. If you got to pay, it's no way. Get started, learn how it works, help make your customers have smarter tools and save yourself a lot of time. I think this is one of the greatest offers we've ever had coming through a webinar.
We want to make sure everyone's aware. I've got a contact information up here. You're not on your own. If you have any questions, you need any support beyond what's available on the resource portal, please reach out to any of us. We're happy to jump in and provide assistance, provide instruction, and provide help to you and your customers to get started.
Well, I want to thank the entire Computer Instruments team for being a part of today's webinar. On behalf of SkySwitch, on behalf of Erica Vasquez, who does such a fantastic job every webinar at making us all seem so smart. She really is the one who does so much work to pull it all together, working with our various SkySwitch partners at being able to deliver great presentations. I want to say thank you, but most of all, I want to thank our participants from the reseller community, because without you, we would not be here, and we're all here because we care about you. I'm Andy Abramson. Have a great work week. Take advantage of the offer. Contact Chris and his team at CI, because this is something which can help you. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.